AI explains compound interest. Compound interest is the eighth wonder of the world. He who understands it, earns it. He who doesn't, pays it. Albert Einstein. Compound interest is one of the most powerful concepts in finance. It can make you rich or it can make you poor, depending on which side of the equation you are on. In this video, I will explain what compound interest is, why it is so powerful for those who receive it and so dangerous for those who pay it, why it is important to understand what it is in the modern world, and how to make sure you are on the receiving end of it, not paying it. What is compound interest? Compound interest is the interest that is calculated not only on the initial amount of money that you invest or borrow, but also on the accumulated interest of previous periods. This means that your money grows exponentially over time, as the interest is added to the principal amount and then earns more interest in the next period. For example, let's say you invest $1,000 at a 10% annual interest rate. After 1 year, you will have $1,100, $1,000 plus $100 interest. If you leave your money in the account for another year, you will have $1,210, $1,100 plus $110 interest. Notice that the interest amount increased from $100 to $110 because you earned interest on the previous interest. If you keep doing this for 10 years, you will have $2,594. That's more than double your initial investment. Why is compound interest so powerful for those who receive it? As you can see from the previous example, compound interest can make your money grow faster and faster over time. The longer you leave your money in an account that pays compound interest, the more money you will have in the future. This is because of the power of compounding, which means that your returns are reinvested and generate more returns. One way to measure how fast your money grows with compound interest is to use the rule of 72. This rule tells you how long it will take for your money to double at a given interest rate. All you have to do is divide 72 by the interest rate. For example, if the interest rate is 10%, then 72 divided by 10 equals 7.2. This means that it will take about 7.2 years for your money to double at a 10% interest rate. Another way to appreciate the power of compound interest is to compare it with simple interest. Simple interest is the interest that is calculated only on the initial amount of money that you invest or borrow, and does not include any interest on interest. For example, if you invest $1,000 at a 10% annual simple interest rate, you will earn $100 every year, regardless of how long you leave your money in the account. After 10 years, you will have $2,000, $1,000 plus $1,000 interest. That's half of what you would have with compound interest. Why is compound interest so dangerous for those who pay it? The same logic that makes compound interest so powerful for those who receive it also makes it so dangerous for those who pay it. If you borrow money at a compound interest rate, you will have to pay back not only the principal amount that you borrowed, but also the accumulated interest of previous periods. This means that your debt grows exponentially over time, as the interest is added to the principal amount and then charges more interest in the next period. For example, let's say you borrow $1,000 at a 10% annual compound interest rate. After 1 year, you will owe $1,100, $1,000 plus $100 interest. If you don't pay anything back in the second year, you will owe $1,210, $1,100 plus $110 interest. Notice that the interest amount increased from $100 to $110 because you paid interest on the previous interest. If you keep doing this for 10 years, you will owe $2,594. That's more than double your initial debt. Compound interest is not a new concept. It has been around for centuries, and it has been used by many people to build wealth. However, in the modern world, compound interest is more relevant than ever, because of two factors: inflation and credit. Inflation is the general increase in the prices of goods and services over time. It means that your money loses its purchasing power as time goes by. For example, if the inflation rate is 3% per year, then $1 today will be worth only 97 cents next year, and 94 cents the year after that. Inflation erodes the value of your money, and it reduces the real return that you get from your investments or savings. Credit is the ability to borrow money from others, such as banks, credit card companies, or online lenders. Credit can be useful when you need money for emergencies, big purchases, or investments. However, credit can also be dangerous when you borrow more than you can afford to pay back, or when you borrow at high interest rates. Credit can trap you in a cycle of debt, where you have to pay more and more interest every month, and where your debt grows faster than your income. These two factors make it important to understand what compound interest is in the modern world. If you want to protect your money from inflation, you need to invest it in assets that pay compound interest, such as stocks, bonds, or real estate. If you want to avoid getting into debt trouble, you need to avoid borrowing money at compound interest rates, especially if they are higher than the inflation rate. You also need to pay back your debt as soon as possible, before it grows out of control. How to make sure you are on the receiving end of it, not paying it. The best way to make sure you are on the receiving end of compound interest, not paying it, is to follow these simple steps. Save money regularly. The more money you save, the more money you can invest and earn compound interest on. Try to save at least 10% of your income every month, and put it in a separate account that you don't touch unless it's for investing purposes. Invest wisely. The more interest you earn on your investments, the faster your money will grow with compound interest. However, higher interest rates usually come with higher risks. You need to balance your risk and return preferences, and diversify your portfolio across different asset classes and sectors. You also need to consider the fees and taxes that may reduce your net return. Reinvest your earnings. The more often you reinvest your earnings, the more powerful the compounding effect will be. Start early. The longer you invest your money with compound interest, the more money you will have in the future. This is because of the power of time, which allows your money to grow exponentially over long periods. For example, if you invest $1,000 at a 10% annual interest rate and reinvest your earnings every month, you will have $17,449 after 10 years. Thanks for watching.